Have you ever experienced a night so eerie that it haunts your memory forever? This is the tale of such a night. Upon Mrs. Claughton's return to her London abode, her home was no longer the sanctuary it once was. Her trusted governess, Miss Ainsworth, found herself amidst a symphony of unsettling sounds that night. A chorus of inexplicable weeping rang through the halls, punctuated by loud moans that seemed to echo from the very walls themselves. An odd electrical humming filled the air, akin to a jack running out of juice, creating an eerie soundtrack to the night's events. The house seemed alive, heavy footsteps and thuds reverberating through the corridors, as if invisible hands were shifting large, weighty objects around with reckless abandon. The cacophony was relentless, a haunting melody that lasted until dawn, leaving a chilling imprint on Miss Ainsworth's mind. The following morning, the aftermath of the night's chaos was all too real. Mrs. Claughton's parlor was a sight to behold. Furniture was overturned, as if caught in a storm of unseen forces. It was as though the room had been the stage for a spectral performance. The fear was palpable, the confusion overwhelming. Mrs. Claughton and Miss Ainsworth, once the mistresses of their home, now felt like intruders in their own domain. The night's events had left them shaken and searching for answers. As the dawn broke, the two women were left with an unsettling question. What was causing this paranormal activity in their home? When haunted by the inexplicable, one seeks answers from the unworldly, and so our protagonists decided to invite a psychic medium to their home. In the heart of London, a unique visitor arrived at Mrs. Claughton's doorstep. This individual was no ordinary guest, but a renowned psychic medium, a bridge between the mortal coil and the ethereal plane. With a reputation for solving the most perplexing spiritual mysteries, this medium was their beacon of hope in times of uncertainty. The psychic medium, armed with their unique abilities, began a thorough investigation of the property. Their senses tuned to frequencies beyond our understanding, they traversed the house, feeling the energy that lingered in every corner. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as they delved deeper into the investigation. After what felt like an eternity, the medium finally broke their silence. They revealed the presence of a spirit, a spectral entity bound to the house for centuries. This spirit was not a random apparition, but a former servant of the household. The servant had met a tragic and untimely demise, a victim of a cruel twist of fate. The medium explained that the servant was wrongfully accused of a crime they did not commit. Their punishment was severe, ultimately leading to their death. The spirit had been restless, yearning for justice that was long overdue. The spirit was seeking justice, a resolution to the injustice he had faced centuries ago. A promise was made, a quest for truth embarked upon. Mrs. Claughton, a woman of her word, decided to delve into the past. She was driven by a deep-seated sense of justice, a need to right the wrongs that had been done long before her time. The spirit, a mere servant in its past life, had been wronged, and she was determined to uncover the truth. Acting on her resolve, Mrs. Claughton sought the assistance of a private investigator, a man known for his sharp intellect and keen eye for detail. She tasked him with the daunting challenge of unraveling the mystery that had been buried for centuries, a mystery that lingered in the silent walls of the house, a mystery that haunted the very air they breathed. The investigator, undeterred by the magnitude of the task, began his work. He sifted through ancient records, delved into forgotten archives, and traced the lineage of the house's previous inhabitants. The search was painstaking and grueling, but Mrs. Claughton's determination never wavered. She was fueled by the spirit's cry for justice, a cry that echoed in the quiet hours of the night. As the investigation progressed, a shocking revelation came to light. The servant, in their lifetime, had been accused of a crime they did not commit. They were branded a thief, a scarlet letter that painted them a villain in the eyes of society. The punishment was severe, a sentence that ultimately led to their untimely demise. The revelation was a bitter pill to swallow. The house that Mrs. Claughton had thought of as a sanctuary had been a prison for the spirit, a prison where they were wronged, where they met an unjust end. The servant had been wronged, and their untimely death was a result of this grave injustice. Justice, even if delayed, is justice served, and Mrs. Claughton was determined to serve it. In a quest for truth and justice, she delved into the murky past of her home. With the aid of a private investigator, she unearthed a tale as old as time, a tale of a servant, wrongfully accused and unjustly punished. The servant's name was tarnished, their life stolen, and their soul left yearning for justice. Mrs. Claughton, being the compassionate woman she was, took it upon herself to right the wrongs of the past. She cleared the servant's name, publicly acknowledging the injustice that had been done. The news spread, and the servant's name was finally cleared, centuries after their untimely demise. With this act of justice, a sense of peace descended upon the house. The eerie sounds ceased. The disturbances stopped. The spirit, finally at peace, ceased its restless haunting. And so, the tale of the haunted house came to a serene end.